the other youth that he comes from, like he's from that same community, ask him like, how did you get to be so open like this? Like, how did you stop being so shy? And how are you getting into this position of being a leader? ¿Y qué te ayudó a romper eso?
La organización de Celtic.
We're here in Mexico with the Seeds of Wisdom team to visit our community partners in this region and see how else we can be of support within these communities and programs. Paloma Abregu, the Director of Community Partners at Seeds of Wisdom. Our very last site visit was with Celtic, an organization based out of San Cristobal. They're a pretty incredible organization. We have funded them in the past.
Buenos dias, soy John.
They picked us up and they're like, okay, we got a 2-hour drive ahead of us. We didn't realize how far away we were going, so I assumed that we would be somewhat close. The Mayan territory is quite expansive, and within the Mayan territory, there's a lot of different tribes. Some share the same language and some don't.
Incrementaban las mujeres.
Claro, es que ya son 13 años, entonces sí se puede ver ese tipo de impacto.
Sí, sobre todo también porque te encuentran dentro de los talleres y el programa y el modelo educativo que tenemos también.
As we were in this 2-hour drive, I was learning about how they've been promoting young women and them being able to step into a leader role, because part of the reason was that by the age of 12 in most of these communities, people were already married with children by the age of 12, 13. So they knew that if they worked with the youth, they'd be able to shift that. The way this organization works is they train youth in understanding the challenges of their community regarding their cultural identity. Each graduating youth goes into their community and they create a program designed to address those challenges. We had the accompaniment of 3 youth that had graduated this program. One of them was Magda, and she's working with weavers, one of the weavers being her mom. The challenge here was that the traditional knowledge of weaving was being lost.
Bueno, estoy aquí representando a una organización que se llama Semillas de Sabiduría con mis 2 compañeros. Y estamos aquí porque en algún momento nosotros hemos trabajado con la institución que tiene este proyecto. Y bueno, queríamos venir y ver cómo era el trabajo que estaban haciendo y conocerles a ustedes.
Less people are learning how to weave, less people are understanding the importance, the cultural importance behind weaving, and therefore less people are also wearing the traditional weavings.
Pues el tiempo que les lleva es mucho, ¿no? Por eso es que no lo elaboran, pues, o sea, sacan el producto por cierto tiempo. Un ejemplo que tienen en la blusa, digamos, el traje tradicional, pues les lleva a 3 meses, a 4 meses, depende. Porque como no solo ellos se dedican a eso, pues tienen que salir al campo, pues ver sus quehaceres, ¿no? Y entonces por eso es que no solamente están dedicados específicamente en eso de elaborar sus trajes para que vendan, ¿no? Y entonces es lo que mencionan ellos.
And a follow-up program that she had designed with them was to translate what the weavings say. The younger generation was also taking their understanding of modern fashion, creating more design or just having more variation in colors, and help them sell the traditional weavings in spaces that the older women don't have access to for many different reasons. One, because they don't know the language.
What language do they speak?
¿Cuál es el idioma que hablan?
Es celtal.
¿Cómo?
Celtal.
Celtal.
Origen maya.
It's a Mayan language. This is like the different designs that they're including, and so they shifted color a little bit. The actual weavings, the designs are shifting with the influence of the younger generation, and they find that exciting because they're having new ideas that they wouldn't have thought of on their own.
No sé si quieras preguntar algo. Perez.
Sí, está bien, pero no sé si tal vez hay algo que a ellos les gustaría compartir.
We went to a school and they work in the high school teaching a short course on identity. One of the youth, Marcos, graduated from this program, so he decided he wanted to work in this high school because it was his old high school.
Hemos como tenido muchos problemas por cuestiones de que las cuerdas se rompen o que ya no tenemos, como esta por ejemplo, ya no tenemos las cuerdas, es muy difícil de conseguir en esta parte, en esta zona. Entonces nos ha estado como dificultando, ¿no? También está roto.
So the cultural center doesn't have an income, so the state of the instruments, pretty poor state. They were all falling apart and had missing chords. Distances here are pretty far, and so moving the instruments and the people around to go perform ends up occupying most of the budget. It was unfortunate to see them in that state.
La música se va perdiendo porque los señores, los más ancianos, ya se van de este mundo y dejan sus conocimientos, ya no dejan sus conocimientos en los jóvenes. Ahorita junto con el maestro de la música tradicional hemos estado fomentando.
When it was his turn to design a program, he wanted it to be around music. He always felt really connected and moved by the traditional music, but was always really conflicted because he was raised evangelical. And the evangelicals would say that the traditional music and traditional practices was satanic. It was satanic music. So when he was exposed to this group, which promoted Indigenous identity, he started to question all of the things the church had been telling him. He started this with the support of this other young woman at the high school still, and then we got to meet her. She's quite shy, but he noticed that she had an interest in this type of work, and she learned how to play the harp. She's one of 2 girls that learned how to play a harp, which is an instrument that's traditionally only ever played by men, and so she felt like she wanted to shift that.
Entonces, ¿te gusta tocar la arpa?
Well, they got some positive reactions, some men being like, this is great, go ahead, don't give up. They also got a lot of reactions, even on their Facebook page, of why are you playing this type of music? Who do you think you are?
Pero solo unos cuantos
¿Y los demás?
comentarios negativos.
¿Así? ¿Le han dicho comentarios negativos? Como que le han dicho.
¿Por qué tocas esos instrumentos que no sirve para nada? Que no eres nada tocando esos instrumentos.
Porque están celosos de que ellos no tocan y así.
No sé, es que también hemos recibido comentarios negativos en Facebook, en la página que tenemos.
¿Ah, sí?
Sí.
¿Y por
Por
qué?
cuestiones de la religión.
He was saying, well, what happens is that even on our Facebook page, we have a lot of people commenting like, why are you playing these instruments, making them feel bad about what they're doing.
Ellos piensan que no está bien, la música tradicional es para el diablo.
So the Protestants have been here for about 30 years now, and they're the reason so much of the traditional music has been lost, because they've been convincing everybody that it's devil's music.
To see how Marcos came from an evangelical background where he was extremely disconnected from his Indigenous identity, but not just disconnected, so there was a barrier to connect to it, and see him go from there to now being a youth leader in promoting his Indigenous identity and working with others to this movement of reconnecting with their Indigenous identity and practices, just really goes to show you how impactful that work really is and how important it is, because it is like a domino effect. He was changed, and therefore he impacted the change in somebody else, who she then impacted the change in somebody else, And now, out of 15 people that they have in their musical group, 5 are evangelicals. To see so many youth that only speak their native language, honestly, it's inspiring. It gives a whole different understanding for the impact it's having. It's really exciting.
You look very happy.
I'm super enthusiastic. I'm really excited to have them for dinner.
Sí, no, gracias. Fue muy lindo hablar con ustedes. Muchas gracias por compartir.
Sí, muchas gracias. Mucho gusto.
The depth to their education is incredible because it's literally giving them the tools to be change makers, indigenous change makers in their community that are youth. So these communities have so much future ahead of them when their youth are this well supported. It's beautiful. This is where we need to be investing our money, is in organizations like this.
Estados Unidos. ¿Tú bueno? Está bueno, ya son muchos.
Gracias.
Qué bueno. ¿Ustedes que son de aquí?
No, somos, nosotros somos de una organización civil